Up, up, up. Up, up, up.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Up, up, up. Up, up, up. Up, up to a higher place. Up, 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 far beyond this time and space. Up, up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel.
Morning, everybody. All righty. My name is Steve Ferger, and I am your host for this morning's Sunday celebration service, coming to you from beautiful Palm Springs, California. So happy Labor Day, everybody. And well done, everybody that made it into church today. We had some new road closures again this weekend. I don't know if you caught that yesterday, so it's been a little tricky. One road in, one road out of Palm Springs yesterday. So welcome to everybody who made it here, and if we have a few more people watching online today, welcome to you as well. So it's not just Labor Day, it's a double holiday because it's Birthday Sunday. Yes, so if you have a September birthday, please stand up. Oh, look at this, I tell you. Our ushers have something for you to celebrate with. Look at this, we have up. Marcus, we got some more back here, over here on the left. Beautiful. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right. And of course, that gift is a session with a practitioner. So if you are a practitioner, that's so meta, isn't it? That you. Okay. So thank you, everybody. And you did such a good job. We're going to keep singing. So if everybody could stand up, George Melton and Jeff Kingfisher are going to lead us in A Light in This World. And the lyrics will be on the screen behind us.
Okay, this is a song you all know. We pulled this out of our grab bag of oldies but goodies. A light in this world. So repeat after me. I am a light.
I am a light.
You are a light.
You are a light.
We are the light.
We are the light.
Okay, we're all gonna shine. So hit it, Jeff.
Shine.
Good job. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, George, and thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much. And thanks, everybody. That was a great job. So, on behalf of our senior minister, Reverend Eunice Shelfont, and our leadership council, I'd like to welcome everyone here in person and everybody watching online here in the Coachella Valley and around the country. So if you are watching us online this morning, please go to the chat feature and tell us where you're joining from. And if you're joining us in person for the first time today, please raise your hand. Oh, look at that. We're letting the ushers off easy since they had double duty today on a birthday Sunday. All right, well, I will just reiterate to everybody in this room, no matter where you are on your spiritual path, you are always welcome here. So thank you for joining us this morning. And let's continue our service by reciting our mission and vision statement. Words will be up here. At CSL PS, we envision a world where oneness is cultivated, unity is lived, and reverence for all life is practiced, empowering us to thrive individually and collectively. And of course, we do this through the teachings of science of mind and spirit and the practice of unconditional love. So, it's back to school season, and we've got a lot going on around here, but you've got 1 week to catch your breath before it all starts. Okay. Rainbow Alliance's casino night has been rescheduled, but instead, a Pride Parade organizing meeting will take place on that night, which is Wednesday, September 13th at 7 p.m. here at the center. Billy Chen and River Harrison are leading our parade team this year, and they've got some outreach ideas that are going to make it a really successful event. So if you would like to join on the parade committee this year, please drop by if you're interested. That is the Pride Parade Organizing Committee on Wednesday, September 13th at 7 p.m. here at the center. The next day, on September 14th, Reverend Eunice will be starting a 21-day consciousness cleanse class, and that will be on Thursday nights. Check this space. You'll get to hear more about it in the upcoming weeks. The Yeshua Prayer, a discussion group and meditation experience based on the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic with Jeff Kingfisher, starts on September 16th at 10:30 in the morning here at the center. Sign-up sheets are on the information table. And here to tell us more about it is Jeff Kingfisher.
Thank you, Steve. Abun de Bashmaya, Netka de Shemach. Those are the first two lines of the Yeshua prayer, also known as the Lord's Prayer, perhaps translated as, O ever-birthing source eternal, Father, Mother alive in me, and in all things that move and change, the ark of my heart opens, and the holy gift of light makes my path clear. So that's essentially my translation that's based on a whole lot of possibilities of translation that are inherent in Aramaic. Aramaic is this wonderful language that I'm just discovering. Every word has a different meaning. Like, as for instance, the word for name, sound, light, and experience are all the same word. So as you can imagine, as you go through this, there's all kinds of possibilities that arise. The idea of this class is that we can all work together and find our own translations from all this material. I believe that the prayer actually asks us to do that. It's kind of built right in. So the plan on this class is to get together. We'll have start every class with a meditation, and then we'll share about what we've all come with, and then take on the next two lines for the following week. And one of the things also, the lines of this prayer obviously work well in our own prayer practices. They also work really well as mantras, so we'll have a lot to talk about when we come back together. And so we'll do that for 6 weeks. The final week, we'll all share the entirety of our working translation of the prayer, and end with a big old feast. So that's the plan. So I hope you all can make it. It starts on September 16th. and runs through October 21st. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Jeff. The feast was certainly a surprise, I have to say. Yes. So that is starting on September 16th at 10:30 in the morning, 6 Saturdays. And on September 17th, practitioner Peter Bedard will be releasing his new book, Billy and the Anxiety Monster, How to Love Your Anxiety and Heal, a grown-up book for your inner child. So if you've experienced anxiety of any kind, then this book will help you learn to love that anxiety, find your healing, and reclaim your life. There's a preview of the book available right now on the information table, which is the first 15 pages. So Peter will be holding a book signing here on Sunday, September 17th, and then he's going to have a book study on Tuesday, September 19th, and Tuesday, September 26th. So once again, I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of guest hosts here a lot of guest speakers here in the next few weeks. So once again, you'll probably hear more about that. But remember, September 17th is Peter's book signing day here. And the practitioners will be hosting an evening of blessings on Wednesday, September 20th. So please come enjoy a free session of affirmative prayer with one of our many gifted practitioners. And the new women's group will be holding their second meeting on Friday, September 22nd at 2:30 p.m. in the chapel. That is hosted by Ujaya Grace Angel and Debbie Blair. This group is here for women of all ages and backgrounds to come together and support one another through life. Okay, so the information table has information about all these events and everything that's going on here at the center. You can also check out our website at cslps.org, our weekly e-newsletter, and our Facebook page. So in just a few moments, practitioner Ujaya Grace Angel will be offering this morning's reading and invocation. Practitioner Francine Ward hosted this morning's meditation, and she is holding high watch during today's service. And Reverend Michael Kukuru will be with us, sharing this morning's message. Practitioners are available for one-on-one prayer immediately after the service in the chapel. And you can also leave your prayer requests in the Ministry of Prayer box in the lobby and online. So let's take a moment to prepare for the reading and invocation by making ourselves comfortable wherever we are. Opening up to the spirit of love that's always flowing in, through, and around us. As together we take a breath and let the music take us all a bit deeper.
I will make a quiet place within my mind, and I will call upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make
A quiet place within my heart, and I will wait upon the Lord. I will wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet place.
Ooh, good morning. I love that. I will make a quiet place. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to this practitioner moment. I am prayer practitioner E.J. Grace Angel Emeritus, and it is my pleasure to be here. To be anywhere is my pleasure. To be clear, yes. For those of you who are new and or visiting with us for the first time, a prayer practitioner is just one, not just one, is one who has decided service is their way of life. Learning and discerning, defining reality in spiritual truth through prayer, a spiritual practice that is faith affirming, and so much more. Please know that just like myself, prayer practitioners are here to pray with you after service. Please don't leave thinking that you're alone, because you're not. Prayer practitioner Francine Ward is holding the high watch, which simply means she's in silent prayer. There are 2 readings for today. The first is an opening quote from Dr. Holmes, and then from Richard Bach, who wrote Jonathan Living Seagull. We'll have a little excerpt from that. Dr. Holmes on Faith said, the mind is a magnet, and we each attract that with which we identify the self. In order to get the most out of life, we must learn consciously to change many of our habitual thought patterns. This is not easy, for our old thought patterns cling to us with great tenacity. But being thought patterns, they can be reversed. If we are filled with fear, I changed the you to us, we are filled with fear, let's refill ourselves with faith. For faith always overcomes fear, always. And from Jonathan Living Seagull, from Jonathan Living Seagull. It is morning, and the new sun sparkled gold across the ripples of a gentle sea. A mile from shore, a fishing boat chummed the water. And the word for breakfast flock flashed across the air, until a crowd of 1,000 seagulls came to dodge and fight for bits of food. It was another busy day beginning, but way off alone, out by himself, beyond the boat and shore, Jonathan Livington Seagull was practicing. 100 feet in the sky, he lowered his webbed feet, lifted his beak, and strained to hold a hard, twisted curve through his wings. The curve meant he would fly slowly, and now he slowed until the wind was a whisper in his face, until the ocean stood still beneath him. He narrowed his eyes in fierce concentration, held his breath, forced one single more inch of curve. Then his feathers ruffled and he stalled. He fell. To stall is a disgrace. Well, seagulls, as you may or may not know, never falter or fail or stall. To stall is for them a disgrace. It is dishonor. But Jonathan Livingston Seagull, unashamed, stretched his wings again in that trembling hard curve, slowly, slowing, and stalling once more, and was no ordinary bird. Most gulls didn't bother to learn more than the simplest facts of flight. How to get from the shore to food and back again. For most gulls, it is not flying that matters, but eating. For this gull, though, it was not eating that mattered, but flight. More than anything else, Jonathan Livingston Seagull loved to fly. Wow. So let that, any of that, resonate, and I invite you into this moment to either close your eyes and take a deep breath and think about soaring and flying and how different from the pack you are. How something more important than eating, like flying or soaring, could be your piece of essence. You always stood out, always been different, always interested in something out of the ordinary. Breathing that in, letting it settle with you. Standing out, being different from the rest, understanding the power within. There is a power and a presence in this universe, and we can use it. And what's even better is we learn to let it use us, help us learn and discern our originality, how original we are as individuals and as a group. Recognizing it in everything, in every aspect. God is. We are one. Right where we are. Right where we sit in this very instance. I'm convinced God. God is all there is. There is nothing else but it living its life magnificently as everything that lives, every person, every place, everything, all activity is God's love in action for us and all life living. And so it is my extreme pleasure to speak these words and bless this service. I'm blessing every aspect that has already occurred, has already manifest. The beautiful meditation from our practitioner, our beloved Francine Ward, absolutely setting the tone and intention to be present, to be calm, to be patient, to be forgiving in love. I'm blessing Jeff and Chepe as they continue to master everything that we see and feel and sense in the technology. I'm blessing all the folks who are tuning in at home and around the globe. I'm blessing Reverend Eunice, wherever she is, as the spiritual leader of this community and her vision for us in community. I'm blessing Reverend Michael as he comes forward with the message, even as the message continues to outpicture and add and include and think about more. I'm knowing that every word that he speaks is powerful and power-filled and sustenance for us to consider today and every day. And so I'm looking forward. I give thanks to George and Jeff for their wonderful voices in song. I'm blessing the folks who set up the Conscious Conversation Cafe. I'm blessing every aspect of this service today and giving thanks that I'm standing here with the ability to do that. How good it is to know. What a blessing it is, and I'm truly grateful. I am truly grateful. Oh, I'm so grateful. And so I could talk about grace all day long. All day long. But I'm complete in this moment. And if any of what I've shared, any of the reading, anything that has inspired you so far, I invite you to anchor this experience with me now and forevermore by just saying together, and so it is. Yeah.
Jeff, do I go up now or there's a song?
Are we ready to rock?
Yes, we're ready to rock. But Jeff, we're going to put that off for about 1 minute. It'll be
Okay.
1 minute into the talk.
Okay.
So we're ready to rock, but we need to get together and rock as one.
Okay.
Right now we're rocking as two, and that's good.
Okay.
So yeah, we're in the flow here today. Everything changed at 4:30 this morning. This wonderful outline talk went out the window, and this wonderful improv talk is showing up. And so if you're part of the production team here, that'd be Marcus and Guy and Ross and Reverend Robert. And if you go out in the lobby and get ready and take your position, and you will hear, I will give you the cue when to come in. It'll be about a minute from now. So if we can have our production crew in place and our sound crews in place. And so here's the thing. Here's the thing about being a guest minister. The rules of house, the rules of this house, the rules of my house in Apple Valley, my CSL ministry in Apple Valley, are that you make the guest minister feel very, very welcome. Yes?
Right.
You got your way. I mean, it's like you make the ministry welcome. So I walked in, and I'm 72 years old, and as I walk in, I'm referred to as a senior minister. Well, when you're 72, you don't want to be referred to as senior anything. So then it got softened to, you're the elder minister. Well, when you're 72, elder sounds okay, but it's not exactly right. And then Cheppy said, you're the champion minister. And I went, yes, that's it. I'm the champion minister of the consciousness of love. And the thing about that, the thing about soaring and taking flight on that consciousness of love, if I'm the champion of the consciousness of love and we're all one, and if we're all one, then you are the champions of the consciousness of love. And so we know that's what's unfolding today. So Rumi shares this. There's a polish for everything. There's a polish for the dining room furniture Ross and I recently bought. There's a polish for the new floor Ross and I recently put in, and most of that polish is hard work and elbow grease. There's polish for cars. There's a polish for silver. There's a polish for leather. And two, there's a polish for the heart. And the polish for the heart is love. Science of Mind shares of the oneness of love. Mostly, I'm good with the concept of the oneness of love. Mostly, I'm good with the consciousness of love thy neighbor as thyself. Mostly, I'm good with the celebration of being all in with love. And ministerial school shares of being all in with love. But come to think of it, in ministerial school, I don't remember them giving us the choice of being all in with love or being mostly in with love. I don't remember that question on the final exam that asked, are you all in with love or are you mostly in with love? And I assure you, if it was in the exam, the answer would not be, I'm mostly in with love. Mark Twain wrote, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. Reverend Robert is my ministerial mentor, and right now I see him prancing in the back of the lobby, throwing his arms up the air and saying, there goes Michael's ordination. It's out the window. But I'll share in truth that I'm good with being all in with love. I'm good with it, all in with the oneness of love, until someone cuts me off on the freeway, and then I go from being one with love to two with love. We are no longer one. You and I are two. It becomes my lane versus your lane. It becomes my right of way versus your right of way. It becomes my ego versus your ego. And may the biggest ego win. Wayne Dyer shares of ego. Ego for Wayne Dyer means exit God out. The oneness of love is not about exiting God out. The concept, consciousness, and celebration of the oneness of love is about being all in with God's love. Not mostly, all in. To be all in with the oneness of God's love, we have to be willing. We do not have to be willing. We do not have to be anything. We get to be willing. We get to be willing to hear the call. We get to be willing to hear the cry. We get to be willing to answer that call, answer that cry of love that's rising up from the eternity of our soul. And we have to let that love that's the eternity of our soul take flight on the kite of our dreams. So if we can have our production came in, and Jeff and I were ready to go.
With tuppence for paper and strings, you can have your own set of wings. With your feet on the ground, you're learning to fly. With your fist holding tight to the wings of your kite. Whoa, let's go fly a kite up to the highest height. Let's go fly a kite and send it soaring up through the atmosphere, up where the air is clear. Oh, let's go fly a kite. When you send it flying up there, all at once you're lighter than air. You can dance on the breeze over houses and trees, with your fist holding tight to the string of your kite. Whoa, let's go fly a kite up to the highest height. Let's go fly a kite and send it soaring up through the atmosphere, up where the air is clear. Oh, let's go fly a kite. Hey. Thank you, kite flyers. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you, everyone co-creating this service. And Chappie, if I could have my first slide. Our talk title is Go Fly a Kite. And our talk is about the will, or the willingness, to take flight on the kite of our dreams. I'd have the next slide. Our talk theme is connectivity. It's about the will or willingness to experience that knowingness that we are not just outer related, but we are consciously interconnected. We're all interconnected. And if we'd have the next slide. Our talk Science of Mind principle is the principle of oneness. All for one and one for all. It's about the will or willingness to express the unity of unconditional love. And today's affirmation, if we can have the next slide. Perfect. Is I'm taking flight on the kite of my dreams, and I invite us to affirm together. If we can affirm and say out loud together, I'm taking flight on the kite of my dreams. And one more time, let's hear it, downtown Palm Springs. I'm taking flight on the kite of my dreams, and let's send it to Washington, D.C. today. Let's send that love. I'm taking flight on the kite of my dreams. You know, it's about the willingness to defy the gravity of our human conditions by making welcome here and now the grace of divinity within our humanity. More than anything else, Jonathan Seagull loved to fly. And I thank Igea for doing that beautiful reading today, reading that beautiful energy here. Ernest Holmes speaks of that power to soar, that power to turn into flight, that power to rise above all conditions, that power to rise above that maze of materialism into the amazing atmosphere of the metaphysical, the mystical, the magical, the miracle. The miracle. The miracle of this teaching, the miracle of the presence that we are, the miracle of knowing that through our power of choice and our unity of oneness and our goodness of love and kindness, we become the miracle. Miracles are not out there. Miracles are in here. And when we realize that we are that miracle of love,
We are that miracle of soaring from the energy of love, that eternity of love in our soul, and we bring it forth and let it take flight on the kite of our dreams. All things are possible. All things are possible. And Cheppy, if you have the next slide. All things are possible because Ernest Holmes says, there's a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. That's the science of mind. It's the study of life and the nature of the laws of thought. Science of mind is the study of life and the nature of the laws of thought. And so I like to say the atmosphere of our thoughts create the weather vane of our lives. Because whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. This Labor Day, I invite us to move beyond the concept of laboring at everything, of working hard for the money. Life's hard. We have to give birth to things. No, we just make welcome the presence of life that's already here, that's already who we are, that's already within us. And I invite us to move beyond the concept of laboring at anything by moving into the freedom of conscious thought of the liberty of everything. The liberty of everything. Already within, already without, already ours, as one with the consciousness of love. And the liberty of living the life you love happens by soaring on the kite of your dreams. Part of taking flight on the kite of our dreams is releasing, letting go, and surrendering into that which no longer serves us. Big part of our teaching is surrendering. And Cheppy, if we could have the next slide. And so we have a slide of how many of us operate. In this corner, and still undefeated, Henry's long-held belief systems. How many of us are still living in the boxing ring of our beliefs, and we're not going to step out of our corner? If anything, we're going to back into our corner and hold our position, right? I'm not one, I'm two. I'm going to hold my position. I'm going to hold my corner. I'm going to hold my belief systems. I'm going to hold it against all of the evidence that all is one, that Spirit is presence, and that miracles are who I am. I'm going to hold my belief system. Our opening story is about moving beyond the boundaries of one's beliefs into soaring on the boundless awareness of the heights of our conscious kites. Our opening story is called Water Bugs and Dragonflies. Anyone heard it before? It goes like this. It's about moving beyond the limitations and the boundaries of our beliefs. Once in a pond, under the lily pads, there lived a water beetle in a community of water beetles. They lived a simple life with few disturbances. Once in a while, sadness would come to the community when one of their fellow water beetles would climb up the stem of the lily pad under which they lived and would never be seen again. The community knew when this happened, their friend was gone forever. Then one day, one little beetle felt an irresistible urge to climb up that stem. However, he was determined he would not leave forever. He would come back and tell his friends what he found at the top of that lily pad. When he reached the top and climbed out of the water onto the surface of the lily pad, he was so tired. He was so tired. And the sun was so warm, he decided he must take a nap and go to sleep. As he slept, his body changed, and when he awakened, when he became aware, he discovered he turned into a beautiful blue-tailed dragonfly with broad wings and a slender body designed for flying. So fly he did. And as he soared, he saw the beauty of a whole new world and a far superior way of life to what he had ever known. The beauty of a far superior life from that which he had ever known, or had ever known existed. Then he remembered his beetle friends and how they thought he was gone forever, and he wanted to go back and tell them of his wonderful new adventure, that now he was more alive than he had ever been before, more alive than when he left. His life had not ended. His life had not ended when he left the community that he had been with, but his life had changed. His life had changed. But his new body would not go down into the water. He could not go back to tell his friends the good news. Then he understood that their time would come when they too would know what he now knew. So he raised his wings and took flight into his joyous new life. We have to, at times, leave the community that we know. We at times have to soar above the consciousness that we're familiar with. We at times have to soar into the oneness that exists beyond the two-ness of this world. We at times have to become one with the miracle that we are. Walt Disney's kite was a castle. Lillian Disney, many years after Walt's transition, many years after his transition, was at the opening of Disney World in Florida. One of the board members, as Lillian was about to cut the open ceremonial ribbon, turned to her and said, "Oh, if only Walt could have seen this." Lillian turned to the board member and said, "Walt did see this. That's why we're here today." When you find yourself in the boxing ring of your beliefs, step out of the ring. I don't care if you sidestep, you backstep, you forward step, you jump step. Step out of the boxing rings of your beliefs. It is not serving you. It is not serving the world. It is not serving up that greater consciousness of taking flight on the kite of our dreams into that oneness of love and beauty and bliss that is ever present and ours to make welcome. Genevieve Barand took flight on the kite of her quantum consciousness. What's your kite? What's your kite? Is it the kite of your dreams? Is it the kite of visioning for Walter Disney, the kite of the castle? Or is it the kite of your quantum consciousness? What's your kite? What's your kite? What's your kite? What kite are you going to fly? What kite are you going to let soar? What kite are you going to let go into that kingdom of consciousness and queendom of consciousness and that oneness of consciousness in which we become the miracle of the kite in flight. And the kite in flight becomes the miracle of who we are. Genevieve Barand flew the kite of her quantum consciousness. She wrote a book in which she addressed and came to know her spiritual address. What's your spiritual address? What's the number of your spiritual address? Is it your zip code? No. Is it your telephone number? No. Is it the mileage on your car number? No. Is it the miles per gallon you get or the hours or minutes you get to drive on an electric vehicle? What's your spiritual address? In Science of Mind, our spiritual address is one. It's unity. The unity of community coming together as two and three and four into that unity of the consciousness of one. Genevieve Barand found and lived from her spiritual address of knowing God was in the quad, that she could wake the quantum and weave the quantum of divine consciousness into the tapestry of the fabric of her life. Genevieve Barand, in her book, Your Invisible Power, flew the kite of divine connection. She flew the kite of divine operation. She flew the kite of divine consciousness. She spoke not to the misnomer of the law of attraction, for there is nothing we need to attract in our Science of Mind teaching, because everything is already present. We're not attracting, we're being. She flew the kite of divine direction, of divine perfection, and of her divine presence. When she soared to knowing her mind was a center of divine operation. I'm one with the center that operates all. I'm one with that center that operates all. And my mind is the gear. My mind is the lever. My mind is the gear shift. that shifts me into that quantum creative consciousness. From that center of divine operation, she co-created a life beyond her imagine and came to experience all is well, and more well than I can imagine, because Spirit in its oneness imagined it even better. She was left a small pension from her husband that was enough to live on, but not enough to celebrate life, not enough to expand, not enough to travel, not enough to learn, not enough to take classes, not enough to grow into and to become the person she desired to be, that spirit soaring from within her, that love soaring from within her, that creative presence soaring from within her. Her stipend on this life plane would not allow her to become who she wanted to be. She wanted to study with Thomas Troward in England. She couldn't afford to get there on a small pension. And so she asked Thomas Troward how she could study with him. And he said, my fee, which in today's dollars was $20,000, might have been $500 then, but $20,000 today. And she said, I don't have that fee. And he said, well, first of all, you're going to have to come up with a fee. You're going to have to come up with a $20,000 tuition. But you're also going to have to answer this question. Why is a fort like consciousness? Why is a fort like consciousness? A fort the same on all sides, all heights, all widths, top and bottom. Why is a fort like consciousness? And she went round and round for 3 or 4 months, and one day she got it. A fort's like consciousness, because no matter what angle you approach a fort at, it's the same on all sides, and the same in the height, and the dimension, and the floor. A fort's like consciousness, because whatever angle you come at the fort from, it's always the same. And consciousness, no matter what angle you come at consciousness from, consciousness is all the same. You can come at consciousness with your belief systems, and your belief systems are not going to change consciousness. You can come at a fort from a different angle, from a different perspective, from a different reality, but your perspective and your reality and your beliefs and your limitations are not going to limit Spirit. They are not going to change Spirit's belief about you. Spirit will never believe your limited belief about you, because Spirit only knows that expansion, that willingness to soar. And so Troward said that's the right answer. And now, for the $20,000 in today's dollar, Genevieve Barand had enough money to catch a boat to London. She was to study with Troward 5 days after getting to London. She got to London, didn't know what to do. Her stipend wasn't enough to get her through the week. And the person who managed her trust said, your commitment is so strong to coming to know who you are. I feel your strength. I feel your soul. I feel your love. And even though the instructions are not to exceed the stipend, I am going to front the bill to pay for Thomas Troward's tuition. Not knowing the rules of this land, the rules of her trust. She had to move beyond the rules of her trust and to trust into a higher consciousness, to soar in flight on a kite of consciousness with no limitations, no liabilities, no lack, only the oneness of love, and love is beauty and grand and growing. We're here to be beautiful, to be growing, to be soaring, to be flying. To be flying. Alfred Lloyd Tennyson writes, come, my friends, it's not too late to seek a newer world. A newer world in which that which we bless becomes our blessing. A newer world in that which we face becomes our grace. A newer world in that which we think about comes about. Amanda Gorman, and if we could have the next slide, Chepe. Amanda Gorman took flight on the kite of her dream to read her poem, The Hill We Climb, on Inauguration Day. And read her poem, she did. And change her life that very day, she did. And change the world that very day, she did. By taking flight on the kite of her dream to read a poem on Inauguration Day that she wrote. We'll end with her poem. It's called The Hill We Climb. Martin Luther King talked about climbing mountains. I've been to the mountaintop. Some of us climb mountains, some of us climb hills. Some of us don't climb at all. We just take flight. We just take flight in the kite of our dreams. And when we do, this is what it looked like and sounded like and felt like for Amanda Gorman. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade of the loss we carry and the seas we must wade? We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. We've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. And yes, we as a nation, we as a people, we as an individual are far from polished. But that doesn't mean we're striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures and all colors and all characters and all conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes, we lift our gazes, we lift our gazes from where they are, not to what stands between us, not to what stands between us, but to what stands before us. Let's stop looking to what stands between us and start looking to stand what's before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms. We will not march back to what was, but move forward into what shall be. But one thing is certain, if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy. Love becomes our legacy. That oneness, that unity, that commonness, that consciousness of love becomes our legacy. We move from that duality, that liability of our duality, into the unity of the legacy of love. And when day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light if we're only brave enough to see it, if we're only brave enough to be it. Amanda Gorman, she was brave enough to see it. She was brave enough to be it. She was brave enough to take flight on the kite of her dreams. We can take flight on the quantum kite of our dreams if only we're willing to be brave enough to see it, to be it, and to become it. We'll end this talk where we began, by taking flight on the kite of our dreams, as Jeff and I sing this talk to a close. Oh, let's go fly a kite up to the highest height. Let's go fly a kite and send it soaring up through the atmosphere, up where the air is clear. Oh, let's go fly a kite. So this week I invite you to be well and very well. I invite you to say conscious and very conscious, and namaste, and this very day, go fly a kite. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, thanks, God. Yeah, thank you. And so now we go into our giving time. And so it's a time I invite you to take your offering out and prepare it, and for the ushers to begin collecting. And we talked about flying in a kite of consciousness. And so let us fly in that kite of consciousness of knowing that Everything's energy. Consciousness is energy. Everything's energy. And that energy materializes on this realm in terms of financial energy. But that financial energy through this center that we collect, and if you want to go ahead and collect, as we collect that money, we know that this center guides it to its best service. It comes back multifold, not as energy, not as money, but as the creativity and the consciousness of love expanding and soaring and taking flight.
Okay, join me as we sing I'm So Grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful.
Thank you, George. And thank you, Reverend Michael. That was wonderful. Thanks so much. It lived up to the source material, and both Mary and Bert said it was practically perfect in every way. Yes. So, thank you, Disney fans. Okay. So just a reminder that private prayer with a practitioner is available immediately after the service in the chapel, and we also have conscious conversation and connection and birthday cake in the kitchen. So please join us for that. If we could get all the practitioners and ministers that are here to come on up on stage and join us. Very good. We're going to read our closing affirmation. Oh, if everyone would stand while we do that, that would be great. Thanks, everyone. We won't sit down again. Okay. I am at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I live in the consciousness of peace. I can never be separate from my source. I am living love. Hallelujah. Amen. And we close today with a peace song. Oh, George has something.
And just a quick reminder, there will be choir practice today. If you'll meet in here at 12 o'clock, I have some new music for you. Jeff has to run home. He'll be back at 12:15, and we're going to be singing some new music. So all of you who want to be with us in the choir, please join us at noon.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And thank you, choir. Yes. So we are finishing with the peace song. If everybody would link hands, join hands. From everyone here at the center to everyone here and everyone watching from home, we see you, we honor you, and we look forward to being with you all again next week. So have a great week, everybody.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
machines, flying machines, magnificent men in their lying machines, denying machines, selling, buying machines, tragic fools and their dying machines, snarled cars and gnarly weather, broken phones and all together angry, living finer yesterdays, dreaming of tomorrows we won't do. Like it, why can't take their share? Sell a story, say your prayers, then off to war. Where are you? Flying machines, flying machines, magnificent wind, we wake to the dream, defying routine, unified and serene, fabulous fools and the trying machines. Cosmic is divinely grinding, cosmic vapor trails unwinding, intertwined through the air. Flying machines, flying machines, magnificent